find the Tiger Temple. We searched high and low, but the forest was so thick we couldn't even see. It was a great surprise when Mr. Binks found this. A stone tiger. It looks like a monument of some kind. Maybe it's a sign. We followed the direction it was facing until we heard what sounded like 1,000 of wings. It was a village, completely overrun with parrots. They were everywhere, eating all the farmers' food, breaking the windows, and hurting the villagers. I was about to ask them to stop when a villager called us over from the nearby library. We ran inside, thanking him for helping us. I was furious. How can an animal rat out his fellow animal friends? Well, I'm here to stop the keeper. But first, I need to find that Tiger Temple. Do you know where it is? He handed me a map to the Tiger Temple and an invisibility potion for me and Mr. Binks. We'll need it to hide from the birds. I thanked him, and we both drank the potion, turning invisible. This is so cool, but it's only temporary. We have to go. We took our leave from the nice villager and escaped the town, following the map. Day 9, we were so close. We'd been traveling all night, and we were exhausted. As we drew near to the map marker, we heard noises. It was a pillager. What are they doing so deep in this jungle? And it looked like he'd shot another tiger. These guys just didn't know when to quit. I jumped down and scared the pillager away. At least they're all cowards. The tiger was dizzy, but able to stand. He thanked us for saving him and asked why we were there. I told him about our quests, and he looked happy. The Tiger King is only a day's walk away. He can show us. We hadn't even been traveling for an hour when a parrot swooped down from the trees, calling out to the pillagers. I tried to attack it, but it was too fast. Even Mr. Binks couldn't reach it. We thanked the tiger. I was tired of always running, but I knew if I wanted to defeat the keeper, I would have to keep going. For everyone's sake. We ran for what felt like miles before we decided to turn in for the night. I hunted some nearby chickens for food, and Mr. Binks found a good place for us to sleep. We turned in early, excited for what tomorrow would bring. Day 10. We were at the Tiger Temple. It was super imposing, but I wasn't scared. We looked around for a way in and found a huge passageway. I went in first with Mr. Binks behind me. We did it just in case if it were a trap.
I better not become tiger food, Fozo.
A tiger walked up to us and welcomed us to it. A refuge for all tigers. It used to be, at least. I asked him if he was talking about the pillagers, but the tiger told us to speak with his king. He'd know more than anyone. We walked through the corridors and we finally found the king's room. He was massive. I was scared at first, but he was very kind. We told him about our sanctuary.
Ah, a new place for tigers to live without fear? Truly a noble quest, young Fozo.
I came all the way here to ask you to join me. The keeper is out of control, and together, I know we can stop him.
Indeed. His men are raiding this temple every day. We'll take you up on your offer, Fozo. You have an ally with the King of Tigers.
The king offered us food and a place to sleep. We had a long journey ahead of us tomorrow, but I had made an important alliance. Days 11 and 12 saw us heading home with our new tiger friends. After a long walk, we helped them get settled in, expanding our base and making sure that everyone had a place for themselves. I got to work on a new, even bigger farm to make sure everyone could be fed, but that wasn't all. To honor our new friends, I decided I wanted to build an awesome new tiger head. As I was looking for resources for it though, I heard someone cry out for help. I ran over to the hill to find a sheep had fallen in a super deep hole. It was stuck and weak from hunger. I told it too could come and live at my sanctuary. It didn't trust me at first, but after I told it that my sanctuary had a rule of peace, the sheep was convinced. Awesome! Now we all have wool that we can use. I got to work dyeing and shearing the sheep for my tiger head. I then decided to actually start building it. Days 13 to 15 started off strangely. I was working on my base when I heard that the Tiger King was missing. I dropped everything and headed out to the plains to look for him. I hadn't gone far before I saw him, and he was fighting the keeper.
So, the great Tiger King reveals himself at last. I've been looking forward to this.
You've brought nothing but terror to my people. This revenge will be more than sweet.
I yelled at him to stop, but it was too late. The Tiger King fought valiantly, but he was no match for the poison. He collapsed. I ran towards them, but the keeper just laughed and he shot at me. The arrow almost killed me, so I knew that I had to run away before I too was done for. I needed a better plan. The next few days, 16 through 18, we set off to avenge the Tiger King, keeping an eye out for any pillager ambushes. We were passing across the hills when Mr. Binks stepped on a snake. It attacked him before I could stop it, doing some serious damage. I was able to defeat the snake and give Mr. Binks some food for his hearts, but we were running out of supplies and time if we were ever going to go save the Tiger King. The whole day passed, and we were about to give up hope when we saw the gate to what looked like a zoo. We got to the entrance and we looked inside. And as we looked around, we noticed it was empty. There was no one here, just rows of empty cages. Just then, the snow leopard appeared. He told us that he'd been keeping track of the keeper for days and wanted to burst his zoo open. But by the time he found it, keeper had packed up and moved out. I offered Snow Leopard another spot at our sanctuary. This time, he accepted.
About time, dude.
Together, we vowed to put a stop to this. Whenever Keeper would show himself again, we'd be ready. We returned to the base on days 19 through 20, excited to have a Snow Leopard on our side. We built him his own little area in the sanctuary, a huge snow tower, and we made sure to put snow everywhere so he would stay cool. I was so proud of what I was building, but I couldn't rest yet. I put the finishing touches on the entrance. It looked better than I'd ever imagined. I knew my friends are going to love it. I went and fetched Mr. Binks, but I couldn't find him. Nobody in the sanctuary knew where he was either. One of the tigers thought they saw him heading towards the village, so I went that way. I wasn't thrilled about it, knowing the keeper was out, but if Mr. Binks was in trouble, I had to go help. I reached the village on day 21, making sure to stay low so no one saw me. I couldn't smell him, but I could hear him. I found Mr. Binks trapped inside a villager's hut. I asked him what he was doing here.
Well, I was trying to find a way to counter the keeper's poison. I knew that some of the pillagers lived here, so I went looking around.
I asked him how I could help him out. He looked like he was stuck on the floor.
I heard this village had some supplies for potions, but as I was looting it, player came by and took everything. He sat me down. I haven't been able to get up since.
I knew I had to go find this player to save Mr. Binks. I also need to get these potion supplies. If Mr. Binks was right, if we got this, we would be unstoppable. I didn't like leaving him here, but I agreed and went out to find this player's house. On days 22 to 24, I found what I thought looked like the house he described. The main entry was open, and there were a bunch of chests inside. Score! I searched through them and found a diamond set of tools. There was also a glass bottle, a blaze rod, and nether wart. These must be the ingredients Mr. Binks was talking about. I took it and was about to run when a player came home. He yelled at me to leave and tried to shoot me. He shot me a couple times, but I was able to get to him, and I knocked the arrows right out of his hand. He begged me not to eat him. I agreed if he released Mr. Binks. We went back to my friend. The player agreed, and he sat Mr. Binks back up. I told him to never come back again, but as I was telling him, Mr. Binks started attacking him. He was so scared, he left everything behind and just ran. I was happy to have Mr. Binks back, but he had even more interesting news to share. If we mixed the glass bottle, the nether wart, and the melon from the Tiger King, it would create a potion of healing. We decided to use the blaze rod and some stone from our mine to create a brewing table. I hope this works. We put the ingredients in, and yes, a potion of healing. This would counteract the keeper's poison, but we only had one. I hoped it would be enough. Days 25 to 28 started with me on patrol. I knew Keeper was out there and didn't feel comfortable not knowing exactly where he was. I heard a noise. Someone was in trouble. I ran over and saw a baby fox being chased by a pillager. Get away from him, you bully. The pillager ran away, but the baby fox was injured. I had to welcome this guy to our base. I told him exactly where it'd be so he can go and be safe. He thanked me, but he also told me something shocking. This couldn't stand. I had to leave the baby fox, but I knew he was safe. I had to go free these foxes and find their treasure. Days 29 to 32, I set out to save the foxes. I prowled across the land, hunting for those pesky pillagers. It took some time, but I was eventually able to find them. They were tormenting those poor foxes. Leave them alone, you cowards. I fought a couple off. One more roar, and the remaining pillagers just ran. The foxes thanked me. No problem, little guys. I invited them back to our sanctuary, and in return, they told me where to find the treasure. I found the cave that the foxes told me about. Wow, look at all these chests. I raided the place and found a ton of fantastic stuff. Blaze rods. Now we can make more of the brewing stations. And a heap of iron bars? These might come in handy later. I loaded the spoils in my inventory and took off. I made it back to my base and unloaded all of the loot. I got to work setting up our brewing stations, but wish we'd had the proper ingredients to make more healing potions. Still, I realized we could at least make the bottles. I gathered sand from the beach and made a bunch of bottles. Better prepared than caught unaware. Days 33 and 35 saw us gathering more materials to make our sanctuary into an impenetrable fortress. I also continued working on my tiger head. It was coming out really good. Since this was no time to relax, I headed out to find more tigers. I knew that there had to be more out there somewhere. I decided to stay close to the base though, but it wasn't long until the wolves returned. I was gonna show them who was boss, or at least I wanted to. Who is that? An elephant? The elephant took out the wolves. It used what it looked like magic? But how? Before I could talk to the elephant, it teleported away. But now it's a magic elephant? I'll definitely have to keep my eyes open for more of them in the future. On days 36 to 38, I realized that our base was running low on supplies. We needed stronger blocks, like diamonds. Luckily, Mr. Binks reminded me of that big mine we found all those days ago. There was diamonds in there for sure. I decided to set out and grab some. I reached it and began mining all I could carry. And with only a quick break to eat and to take a nap, I was fully loaded. My inventory was full. I was about to leave when I heard something. Oh no, it sounds like wings. Sure enough, a parrot was flying overhead. One of the keeper's spies. I was about to run, but then I thought to myself, wouldn't it be better to have a word with with this little animal. I needed some way to trap him though. Then I remembered the iron bars I took from the keeper's minions. Come on, just a little closer. And yes, I trapped the parrot. What do you know, parrot? Are you spying on me?
No, never ever. Me, spy?
Sure you're not. Where's your boss, the keeper? What's he up to?
Keep us real close, all right? Real near. He's right over the hill. Big Zoo, please don't eat me.
I won't eat you, but you have to promise you'll stop working for that creep.
Sure. Anything you like.
I let the parrot go. I had my diamonds, but I needed to see what the keeper was up to. At least I still had my potion. I waited for the cover of night. On days 39 to 41, I snuck up to the keeper's base at midnight. It looked like a village that the keeper had taken over. But look at all the cages. There's so many tigers. This is inhumane. I knew I should go back and get some help, but just looking at my fellow tigers in all those cages upset me so much. I had to do something. I had to free them. I ran into the zoo, smashing every cage that I could see. Come on, guys. You're free. I always keep my promises. Just then, the pillagers attacked, shooting me with their sleeping darts. I began to feel the poison coursing through my body. My hearts began to disappear, but I had my potion. I drank it, and immediately my hearts came back. Thanks, Mr. Binks. With my newfound strength, I was able to defeat the pillagers. The next day, I managed to gather all the tigers and lead them to safety. But I couldn't just leave that zoo standing. I had to make sure it never happened again. I found some TNT in the zoo. Perfect. I laid it all over the zoo and blew it up. Take that, keeper. No problem, guys, but we shouldn't hang around here. Follow me to my sanctuary. There, you'll be safe. I promise. Days 42 to 44, we were so close to the sanctuary. Wait, is that smoke? My base was under attack. It was the keeper. No! I ran up to confront him. Keeper, how dare you?
Ah, there you are, cub. Heard that explosion from here. Hope you had fun falling into my trap.
Trap?
While you were freeing those tigers, I led my men here. Thanks for getting all these beasts in one place, like fish in a barrel.
I've had enough of you, Keeper. I lashed out, fighting as hard as I could, but he was too strong. Each one of his darts drained almost all my hearts. I was forced to retreat. I tried to help my fellow tigers, but I couldn't. I was too weak. I hated having to leave. But with what choice did I have? I thought I was alone, but then Mr. Binks arrived. He was wounded, but alive. I was so happy to see my best friend was okay. We decided we needed to rebuild together, but for now, we needed to find a safe place to sleep for the night. We crossed over a new biome. This one was super wet and rainy, but it was by the ocean. We built the first room of our sanctuary and went to bed. I woke up on days 45 to 47 to Mr. Binks being attacked. The wolves had followed us. I was in no mood. I pounced on the wolves, knocking them aside. I defeated them. We returned back to our home, destroyed. Still, we realized we needed to fortify our position. This can't happen again. The next days were all work. Our castle grew stronger and stronger. I vowed that no matter what the Keeper threw at us in the future, this base will stand forever. And I finally put my efforts into finishing my tiger head. It turned out way better than I thought, and it overlooked our entire sanctuary. Days 48 to 50 was when all of our buildings were starting to come together. I built a whole new sanctuary up in the castle walls, making sure that everyone would have everything they could ever want. I also ventured even further into our diamond mine and was able to come across a huge vein